I'm going to tell you, hey, we have a guest here today.
Okay, you lead it.
And he's well known, okay? Because he's the Kingpin of the Unashamed.
That's right.
podcast.
Are you the Kingpin?
You know,
over
I've
there?
never been a Kingpin before, but I kind of
Oh, he
like
has
that
been.
idea. One time, maybe
Hey, another word for
drug
that
kingpin.
is the instigator.
The instant.
Now that's true
That
for
was
sure.
before Jesus. Yeah, I am an instigator. I will say that's true.
Still
Has
good
anyone
at, still
told
good at
Jace
it.
he's
Yeah.
the Kingpin?
Huh?
Have you told Jace that Al's the Kingpin?
Oh, he already knows.
No, it hurt Jason's feelings. I try to take it easy.
I heard, Si, that you said yesterday in public at the Faith Family Freedom event that I was the number one son in the Robertson family. I heard you said that publicly.
Well,
And
no,
I just
I
want to
told
thank
that-
you.
I
That's
told
just
that
in
to
order.
Well, I know.
Is that a ranking
No, hey, I
system?
told
or-
that to Kay, and here's the way I was telling.
Al, you moved
I
up.
said, hey, look. I said, I met this young lady right here when she was 14 years old. And I said, the first date she went on, I said, guess who was with her?
Mm-hmm.
I said, my older brother was dating her. But Mom said, you go with him. And I said, hey, she's pretty sneaky, her and Phil both. I said, because, hey, they got together even while I was around.
It kind of happens like that.
Well, hey.
Because he's
And I
right.
said, and by
Because
the
2
way-
years later, guess what?
Yeah.
They
and
found
I
out.
said, and by the way, he was the best son you've ever had.
And
Okay,
Si,
so you're saying you're ranking Al number one.
That's it.
and not just in birth order, but actually number one.
No, you're number one, Al.
Yeah, I'm
You've
number
moved
Hey,
up above
it's-
Willie then.
Hey, it's
yeah.
the older son is always the main one.
That's right. We know that.
Yeah.
But now the difference is, Si,
What happened to you then?
I was going to say, unlike your
I was
old,
low on the totem pole was what happened to me.
as Dad would say, the sperm count had gotten low by the time you get to the end of the line.
Well, there you
right,
go. And then you got Jep.
Then you got Jep, who
That's right.
was a baby sister
That's
until,
right, the baby
until we
sister.
got Phyllis, and now he has a sister to play with. So
That's terrible.
Well, speaking of faith, freedom, and family,
Mhm.
That's the order we say it in.
well, hey, that's kind of screwed up. I always mess it up.
That's the
it's like a
But
cop
anyway,
out.
Psy version.
It's really nice to be celebrating 250 years
We had a big old shebang last night.
Absolutely.
freedom.
Amen.
Yeah.
Have you started calling it the semi-quincentennial yet?
No,
Why not?
I don't count that far.
and it's way too many syllables.
He refuses to even try and say
right.
semi-quincentennial.
I had to work on it for my sermon yesterday.
Huh?
I had to work on the semi-quincentennial. I had to practice it a couple of times.
Well, your sermon was good.
I wanted to
Excellent.
ask you about myself.
Al, we talked. Me and Si talked about it yesterday on the way to faith. What is it, Si?
Faith, family, and
freedom.
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 There you go. You got it.
Yeah, outstanding job, Al.
Well, it was interesting because I wasn't supposed to be here because I had a super busy week last week, but I knew that we were going to have a ton of guests coming in for that event. And a lot of times they'll come to White Ferry Road just to meet whoever they can meet. And so I wanted to be able to do that. But I really struggled over this sermon because like we were closing out First John, so I was technically supposed to preach that, but I felt like we have so many visitors. I didn't want to go there because that just was too on the nose. But then we've been talking about freedom in the book of James for a while now. We've been locked in there and unashamed. But then this idea, like Si says, our 250th birthday, and how can you not talk about that? I mean, so I had to sort of combine all that into one.
No.
package.
I've been watching Levine, Life, Liberty, and Levine.
Mark Levin, yeah.
Well,
Or Levine, as you call him.
Oh yeah.
so they got to reading the Declaration of Independence and talking about the Constitution and all that. And your lesson, I always learn something that I just didn't realize. You
What
got
was
to
it?
talking about Jesus, okay?
You didn't know about him?
Well, no.
Okay. Check it.
I didn't know that he had showed us how to deal with the devil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was
That was
good.
my close, yeah.
Because you don't think that way. Well, the same thing was with the life, liberty, and all that. And I come to the conclusion, because I've always said, boy, the founding fathers were really some sharp dudes.
godly men.
But then I realized after he read it and kept saying about it, I said, you know who really wrote that? That'd be the Almighty.
Yeah, there you go.
Because when you get right down to it, a man couldn't have come up with this life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for a human being. I want that. A man would have never come up with that.
That's right. Because we tend to always go to the power base.
We're too
in corruption.
selfish.
Corruption. That's exactly right.
We're too selfish.
Yep.
I'm not going to worry about you, you idiot. All I want is I want everything from me.
Yeah.
So I look and I said, well, not only did the Holy Spirit write the Bible, guided 40 different authors to write it and stay in key and in tune and just perfect. Okay. That's why this nation is as great as it is.
Yep.
right.
All good things come from God.
God was there in the beginning and he wrote, we the people.
Through a guy who questionably, not sure how deep of a believer he actually was. Some people say he was a deist. But I mean, he wrote these words, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And even if you just stop there, for every other country that's ever been founded, you never heard anybody say that.
It ain't got that.
Then he says that they are endowed by their creator. So you're acknowledging the creator and the created, and that we're equal with certain unalienable rights, that among those are life, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. My point in the sermon was the founders were brilliant, sounds right. And they also were, they were hopeful. But the problem is, as you said, even in the United States of America,
their foundation,
corruption. Yeah, but their foundation was right.
Their foundation was right because it was on the Almighty.
Because it was the Creator. And anytime you start moving away from Him, that's when you start having the issue.
Well, and I think it's interesting that when Duck Dynasty started, and Si tells this story a lot, y'all all got together and pulled each other to the side and said, look, here's the deal.
Am I living or you remember it, Si?
That's right.
Remember the Alamo.
Like it was yesterday.
Yeah. Because I wasn't a part of the show.
See, here's what most people don't realize. Okay, I had like 3 uncles.
Yeah, Si, hold on. But I want to find out what was said in that meeting because y'all wanted it to be based on God's will, right, Al?
Yeah.
And tell me about what happened.
Well, because Willie
that night.
had a great idea, and it obviously was the right thing to do, but everybody was unsure, do we want to do this? Because the only examples we had to look at on television, a lot of those had not turned out well. And the
even,
families and the people that did them.
Most of them, there was destruction.
We didn't want to be Honey Boo Boo with beards.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That was that's what we were fearful of.
Or the Kardashians.
Or the Kardashians.
And
here was the theme of it. Okay,
were you aware that and you probably were, that Si's uncles got rich in the oil field? And
I heard all the stories
lives?
growing up.
Oh no!
What
And look, John Hale. Okay, it ruined his life. He lost his family and everything else.
Yeah, marriages.
Because
lost.
you got to look at it. Country bumpkin, uneducated. They save up $10,000, work their tail off, save up $10,000. Drill an oil well, and hey, Almighty bless them. It blew the top of the derrick out. Hey. Country bumpkins are instant millionaires. And with money, everything becomes available.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we got together that night. I mean, they had been talking about it. They had talked to Dad, but, we got together at my house because the decision had not been made yet whether everybody was going to do this.
What are we going to do?
Right. And so we wanted to spend some time in prayer and worship and invite the Almighty to lead that decision. And so, Willie and I had talked, and so I came up with a little thing, if we did it, and I passed everybody a little magnet to go on the refrigerator that said, remember the Alamo. And I did a whole little...
That was our motto.
That was the motto. And if somebody...
Remember the Alamo.
Yes, because some days you are the charging force going in, and some days you're the defender trying to keep them out. So either way, we had to be ready. And we all agreed that night that we were going to do the show. Lisa and I weren't on it, but they were going to do the show. We were going to be there in support. And if somebody began to go off the reservation, you were going to get a call and say, remember the Alamo. I still have it on my refrigerator. It's still there to this very day. And that was 14 years ago.
And I tell this when I'm out speaking all the time.
Wait, Johnny D, what'd you say?
He said, you ever call him? I said,
I wanted to know the same thing.
Maybe.
I mean, you can't tell that, I guess. But, but it's like Si said, I mean, the love of money is the root of all evil, and it can take you into some difficult
places. It brings
places.
everything at your feet.
Yeah.
Okay, and Al, the theme of it was, remember Alamo, Al just said, he said, hey, look, this is fixed to be bigger than anybody thought.
Yeah, and it was.
But-
Okay,
Potentially,
and with that comes money
And then it was even bigger.
And it was even bigger
and,
than we ever imagined.
and everything that comes with money,
Mm,
both good and evil.
yeah, that's true.
And Al said, hey, we've got to be ready for it because guess what? When the money comes, the evil one's coming with it.
Right. And because we had seen it happen, like I said.
Because I've seen it happen to too many people, like my uncle. It ruined his life. He lost his wife and kids.
Mm.
All right. And it just ruined his whole life because, everything's available now.
You know what I wish I had when I was Willie's assistant?
What?
Quo. Brother, I was getting phone calls. I was getting emails. It was crazy. And it was hard to follow up with everything because there was just so much. I was missing stuff left and right, almost got fired 50 million times. And that's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the business phone system built so you never miss a call. Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, and it's trusted by over 90,000 businesses. Quo makes it easy with calls, texts, voicemails, and contact info all in one clean dashboard, and your whole team can pick up a conversation, see the full history, and respond fast. Quo also has an AI agent that handles after-hour calls, answers questions, and even books appointments, so you never miss a lead, even when your team is off the clock. Plus, that would be like when I was Willie's assistant, having my own assistant. Wow, that would have been incredible. Plus, you can integrate the tools your team already uses, like HubSpot, Zapier, Claude, and more, so you can save time and stay organized. The quote would be so good here at Duck Commander. I mean, that would have been awesome. I wish we would have had it. I'd have been like, boom, because I was always on my phone, but if I wasn't at the office, I wasn't getting those calls there. And just having that all in one spot while we were always traveling and out, man, Willie probably would have paid me enough to stay. Look, and if you're not sitting at a desk all the time, maybe you're traveling, hunting, fishing, Quo's great because you can answer the calls right there and handle business from anywhere. Look, money is on the line. Always say hello with Quo. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/duck. That's QUO.com/duck.
What I always thought was the saving grace from the Almighty was not just those conversations, but He had already prepared us because for us, for Dad's wing, we had a 35 to 40 year humility training program on the Washita River.
Humility training program.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like Moses in the
Hard
Midian.
work will
Hey.
do a lot of good.
It was Moses in the Midian desert, and it was like we learned by praying for fish that, this thing was not about us. And Si had his humility training program at the same time in the United States Army.
Yeah.
Another place that will humble you,
No.
because you got to answer to other people.
Yeah.
And so that
And that's hard to do when you're hard-headed.
I always ask Si, how mmany COs you have that made any sense? He said 2. I said, Si,
Hello.
you were in for 25 years. That's a lot of guys because every year you get
I had
a new one.
about 35 officers above me. When Al said, well, how many more are still? I said 2.
I was like,
said,
that's a low percentage.
Yeah, I said the rest of them was idiots. But like I always tell people when I'm out at events, I said, the show Duck Dynasty is really a tribute to all of the Robertsons.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, because we live with each other. I mean, for 5 years, and most of the time you can't stand that.
Mm-mm.
Okay, and we still love each other and still get together and have
Yeah.
a good time together.
I can remember when the show was, just at its peak, and somebody asked Si out at one of these events. They said, Uncle Si, do you watch the show?
Nah.
And he started laughing. He said, ha, no. He said, I gotta live that crap. I ain't gonna watch it too.
I think I'm gonna go through it again.
It's like asking us if we listen to our podcast. Not really, because we spend a lot of time doing podcasts. I certainly don't want to listen to podcasts.
Last night at the Faith Family Freedom, people were like, a couple weeks ago when y'all were talking, I was like, I
Not
don't,
really.
I don't. It is a very big haze.
If you ask me tomorrow what I said on here today, I might remember it. Might.
Depends on how weird we get in this room,
That's
though.
right.
Johnny D walked up to me and said, hey, sign this. I said, yeah, right. and pushed me. He was like, "No, really, there's some things you need to sign here."
Ask for a Philip McMillan signature, man.
Yeah. Well, the way I just think he's
he's just kidding around.
yeah.
No, but last night was a amazing event. Do you know how many people ended up getting baptized?
You know, she said today there were somewhere between 35 and 40 that got baptized there.
Wow.
There were a couple
Last
of more
night?
yesterday. Yep. A couple of more yesterday at the church.
Lick the Almighty.
She read off all the states,
Hey.
and I don't know what she get up to, maybe 40 states today that she,
I met some people from Manitoba.
yeah,
That's not
Canada
even a
and
state.
Sweden.
No, the ones that when the Canada come up, they
Meet the Swedes.
the lady that was running the pictures, she said, these people are from Canada. And I said, hey, keep sending the ducks.
That's right. Well, Jay's telling me, he said, you know, we're celebrating America's anniversary, right? And they were like, oh yeah, we love America.
Well, they were like, we're 9 miles from
Yeah,
the border. I
that's
was
what
like,
they said,
okay.
yeah.
No,
Because
no,
the kid
hey.
was wearing a USA shirt. I was like, I like that shirt. He goes, I'm from Canada. And I said, I don't know how to respond to this, but I'm in.
And then I heard inside, this is what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not, that you got so fired up that you broke the whole microphone system and shut the power down at the event.
To the whole street.
Yes.
The whole street.
Yeah,
Because
everything's
you were
shut
so on fire, is what I heard.
That's God's power.
Holy
He's
Spirit.
not denying it.
Hey, remember the verse, boys.
He went.
Man is limited, but with God, anything is available.
So I went 20 minutes with no mic,
Hey.
and everybody could still hear him.
Oh.
I said, "We got to get him a mic." Just
And
so he
I
ain't gotta
and
yell."
I just started here and
The problem is they
Then when
then
they
got
finally-
you a mic and you stayed up
yeah,
here.
Yeah, then when they finally come up there and got the mic, I said, now. I said, where was I? I said, because this is starting all over because we got sound now, boys.
And I asked Mom, I said, Mom, how much did you talk? Because you were silent, right? And she said, with mouth of the South, how are you ever going to talk? That's what she called you, Si, mouth of the
I
South.
did.
no.
I did at one time stop Si and say, "Let's hand Miss K." And when I was reaching, he was like, "Hey, I ain't through with my story yet."
No,
No,
they ain't finished. Hold on, I ain't got to the punchline yet.
It is age. You might forget the punchline. But no, Mom had a blast. She totally enjoyed it. She keeps her house about 82 degrees because I can't hardly go in there without
Well,
sweating.
no, because
So she was the only one like, I said, Mom, were you hot? And she said, I never sweated. And I said, it was 95 with a heat index of 111.
Those
and,
kids.
Well, no,
and
no.
Mom never sweated.
Well, Canadians were
'cause,
struggling.
Hey, you just like if you walk in the house sometime right now, I'm sitting in my recliner with a blanket on me.
Because it's so
it's
hot.
just something about it. Hey,
Are you cold?
old age, you get
yeah.
cold.
Oh, hey, we can't
I'm
stay in the
saying
same room anymore when we go to events because he wants it like 85,
Yeah.
and I
First
want
thing I
I
said,
want it
I'll
below
tell-
80.
I tell Philip, I said, hey, either shut it off or kick it up. And he said, what do you want it set on? I said, start at 78.
What?
Yeah,
78?
yeah.
Oh, hey, it's brutal.
Are you
Hey.
a lizard?
Well, no, because first thing I tell him, I said,
I
hey,
would, ugh.
find me 2 or 3 quilts and put it on the bed.
I take the ones off
Before-
my bed and over and put it on his.
Because, hey, they usually have the hotel rooms. Oh, you can hang meat in there, boys, and it won't spoil.
I'm
Wow.
not sure about that. I've
So
never sat
so
with-
the back to the show, the success of the show, because I was just at an event and they were talking about it, and it was in North Carolina, and the most oft heard comparison for me to our show is not a reality show; it's a scripted show called Andy Griffin Show, and people it reminds them of that show. I've heard it so many times across the country, and I agree with 100% because in that show you had just kind of this. People had their values. They loved each other. They had this family. You don't realize how much teaching moments there are in Andy Griffith.
Oh, yeah.
But it's funny because you got Andy and you got Dad, kind of the patriarch, the guiding force. Always come back to the right thing. You got Aunt B and you got Miss K, running everything at the house. Everybody loves to be there. And of course, you got Opie, and then you got Barney, and you got Si, which is the element to both shows why
Yeah.
they're so funny and good, right? Because it brings that element. And so I think that is the comparison. And
Yeah.
it's regenerational because now you've got people discovering Andy Griffith. That show was made 60 years ago.
Well, no.
And there are people watching it today like it. I mean, they can sit down, they laugh at it. It's hilarious. It's funny. And
See?
now we got next generation Duck Dynasty
Yeah.
fans. Same
Yeah.
thing.
Well, that was one of the things that, like, when you said, okay, it was real. Okay, this was a family, and they showed their life and all the crap that comes with it, and it was real.
Yeah,
Well, that's the way the Robertson were.
that's right.
No.
When Andy
Well,
Griffith,
right now, the main question to ask me is, how did y'all pull it off? He says, y'all hadn't changed a bit. I said, well, Al, Phil's oldest son, is a preacher, and he foresaw, the show's
we
going to
had
be
to stay
big.
grounded. Yeah,
And then we had a meeting saying, hey, look, don't you go stupid on me thinking you're a star, and because, hey, we're going to knock you upside the head and tell me, hey,
That's
back
accountability.
in here, you're a part of the family, idiot.
when that Andy Griffith was based on a town, Mount Airy, North Carolina.
Yeah.
That was Andy Griffith. He knew that growing up, and so he wanted to tell his family story. So that's why it really is a reality show, even though it's a scripted reality show. It was really good. But now it's what people love about it, Si. And then what's interesting is it wasn't religious at all, but you could tell there was something spiritual about us. And even Philip, Philip was like introduced as a character.
The villain.
The villain, yeah. But even the first time you came, you were in the Toby Red drag on your lawnmower. And at that point, people probably didn't realize that's you in both characters.
Yeah.
But you were like Otis the drunk.
No. It was, hey, what was so great about that?
Andy Griffith.
No, what was so great about that? He shows up, coming on his tractor and this backfire and all that. So I go in and I'm shaking my head, and Phil's on his recliner. And I said, where does Woody come up with these clowns?
And you bought the squirrel, didn't you?
No. And I said, because that guy's priceless. And Philip said, Phil said, well, that's old Mac.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, he's my best friend. I'm with him all the time. That wasn't him. And then he comes in and takes off the wig and, strips toes off and all. And I said, you got me on this one.
Si, did you get a lot of subscriptions on your phone?
No.
Okay, well, for the rest of America, we kind of do subscriptions.
I got a lot of
Hey, I once had a subscription to high school football in Colorado and paid for it for months, and I only did it to buy one game. Those subscriptions will sneak up on you, and that's why I got Rocket Money now. Rocket Money tracks subscriptions in one place and helps cancel unwanted ones easily. You can set budgets and financial goals, get personalized insights, and receive alerts for large transactions, upcoming bills, refunds, and low balances. Rocket Money pulls checking, savings, loans, and investments all into one dashboard so you can see your full financial picture right there in the dashboard in one place. It's super easy to use.
Absolutely. And look, I just got back from London, and my son's new father-in-law was telling me about all these subscriptions that he couldn't keep up with, and I told him about Rocket
Hey,
Money.
one thing I like, big transaction alert. Allison goes to spend something, try not to tell me. Ding. I got it right here no matter what card she puts it on because it's all right there in one place. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel unwanted subscription, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/Duck. That's rocketmoney.com/Duck. rocketmoney.com/Duck.
And then you were reintroduced again, then as McMillan the villain.
Yeah.
But it's like Zach Stevens was on the show twice.
Oh, yeah.
He was two different people. He was the Swede.
The Swede. We still get emails about who was the Swede.
Exactly.
He was an interesting character.
Yeah, I bought some guns at Miss Kay's garage sale.
Yeah.
From Miss.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I just remember that was like the
Mountain Man bought
first
the
couple
squirrel.
episodes.
Yeah. Mountain Man bought
That was episode
Was that
one.
the pilot?
What?
Was that
I
the
think
pilot?
it may have been.
I remember vividly on a Wednesday night at WFR, Al is up there and he goes, by the way, we're doing this weird thing. We're filming it. We need like a bunch of rednecks to come buy stuff at a garage sale. And I was like, what are they doing?
So I was recruiting at the
You were
church.
recruiting people and McMillan's like, boy, wait till you see me in jorts.
Yeah. George said he had a mullet, long mullet.
no, because Phil had talked to him and he said, Mac, you can pull it off.
Yeah. Now your dad actually said,
Hold on.
"You coming down, ain't you?" I was like, "I don't know."
So I don't know if y'all know this, but Lisa and I were we thought we were going to do the show because we filmed for the pilots. we were at the family dinner. If you got to look really careful at the end. They tried to cut us out. They couldn't quite get us out of the family dinner scene because we were there. But we realized after we had done the pilots and the show got picked up that because we had been doing the show that was on Benelli, the Outdoor Channel show. But it's a whole different schedule to film. And then all of a sudden, when the show gets picked up, and they're like, "Well, you're going to have to film like 5 or 6 days a week," and I'm like, "Well, I'm preaching at the church. I couldn't possibly do this." So we had to drop out.
I can't do this.
So we thought initially we were going to do the show, and then we didn't until season 4. And the only reason I got on the show is because at the end of every, and not by now it's a juggernaut. Like it's obviously a huge hit.
It's going at the top.
It's going.
And
Season
climbing.
4 was our biggest year, and so so at the end of every season of filming, they would get together and we would tell stories and stuff. And I usually sat in on those because I was pretty good, like reminder of stories and knows all the side stuff. And so Mom was like, and I was there, and Mom said, they were like, Mr. Phil, you happy? And, he gave him a thumbs up, and, he going around the room, and they said, Miss Kay, are you happy, with everything? And she said, I'm not happy. And they were like, it shocked them because Mom's always happy. And they were like, well, what is it, Miss Kay? And she said, I have 4 sons, and they only know about 3 of them, and I'm not going to be happy until Al's on this show.
Wow.
And it was so funny because they were, and I was like, "You go, Mom," and I was back there. Yeah, I'm like, I'm ready to get on this train.
I'm number 1,
number 1 son who nobody knows about. Willie and Jace are plastered all over New York City and all this stuff.
The elusive.
I like how you went with New York City because I was about to interrupt you and say Walmart
or Walmart.
Yeah, because they had a whole aisle to themselves. There was a Willie and Jace aisle.
The only thing I purchased of all that gear that A&E put out, because it was theirs, it wasn't us. Nobody, trust me, they made all the money, didn't they? So, but the only thing I purchased was a loofah. They had their pictures on a loofah of Willie, so I could use it in the shower. And I won't tell you where, but it's where he needed to be. It's where he needed to be.
You married with Amy. She says, Uncle Si, she said, I bought one of them loofahs. And she said, but when I was in the shower, she said, I just couldn't use it.
She was too embarrassed.
I said, I understand it, darling.
The fact that y'all had loofahs is a...
Well, that's a bridge too far, let's face it. We don't really need loofahs with their picture on it.
Well, we should have stopped at the Duck. You know what I'm saying?
There they are.
We should have stopped at the Mallard and been like, Duck Commander loofah.
Those are made to wash the extremities of your body.
Yeah. Instead, they were like, Miss Kay, yep, sign her up. Si, sure. Phil Robertson takes a bath once a week. Why not have his own loofah?
Exactly. I didn't even realize Mom made that thing.
Yeah. There was a K loofah.
That's embarrassing. With the glasses and everything.
I've sold them.
So
I've looked at people in the eyes and said, that'll be $8.99.
No.
Willie the loofah stayed in the crack.
It stayed in the crack.
Willie Loofah.
And I like it right in the middle of all that. There was Si here in the podcast studio.
Oh, no, we've talked about these before. If you type in Uncle Si loofah.
Oh, that's what it is.
Apparently, there's a couple
Johnny
times
D.
we talk about it.
I got you.
And apparently, you can eat a loofah.
I didn't realize.
Know what
it's
that
an actual
means.
plant. So, it's thanks to Mom.
Episode number
that I got to
308.
come on the show. And here's another thing you may not know. Since I'm here, I'll tell you. I don't know where we got off on this. That's what happens when you sit in Martin's chair. You just talk about pointless stuff that.
Yeah.
Well, that's when you come in this room.
I texted Martin. I said, Al's taking your place today. I'm going to go in and say, welcome back to the Duck Call Room and listen. And then Si did that. It's great.
So the season 4 premiere was my big debut. So Mom is lobby. I'm on the show. At first, I tried to kind of work part-time at the church, but I wound up having to leave and come back to work here because now we're getting so many licensing deals, a la loofahs, sunglasses,
underwear,
everything you can imagine. And so none of the Duck Dynasty stuff was us, but Duck Commander was also doing a lot of licensing deals too.
I found a Duck Commander cigar in my garage when I was
there. You go. And it's cool to go back and find the stuff we worked on. So we come on the season 4 premiere. I think it's the first 1-hour show we did, and it was the season 4. And so this is the highest rated show of the whole series. And it's the one where Mom and Dad are celebrating their 50 years.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And Si was the third wheel. And so all the A, B, and C stories. So they were going around town, and Si was like the third wheel date, and they were kind of reenacting that. I came onto the show because the pastor, somebody had to do the thing to, do the renew the vows. So that was my role. And so I told Willie, so the show comes out, the biggest night we've ever had. And I'm like, Willie, if you had gotten me on here earlier, there's no telling where we could have taken this show. I mean, this little duck show could have been huge. we could have gone places.
Took over the world.
Till Duck Do His Part was the 1 hour season 4 premiere, currently the highest rated telecast in A&E history.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, A&E.
It is also the first appearance of Robertson's oldest son, Alan.
There you go. Al.
Hey, look,
From AI's voice to John David's
there
ears.
was a lot of people on the set when we filmed that was crying.
Oh, yeah, it was tearful.
11.77 million people watched that.
That's higher than like broadcast shows for the day. I mean, it was
Yeah.
huge. Biggest cable I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't long after that we fractured and went, that's what happens, But you start interviewing Dad.
And then season 5 comes out and they're like, who is this idiot that clearly hasn't taken a shower in months, and the whole show got canceled.
That's exactly right. John David come on, and it was just the opposite effect. It was a complete nosedive.
Can we talk about that? About how your dad may or may not have said some stuff, and then they were like, we're gonna give Phil off like 2 episodes.
Exactly.
And it just so happens to be me. And there's stuff on Twitter that are like, who's this idiot taking the place of Phil Robertson? I was like, no, I'm just trying to get Willie coffee. I'm not trying to take Phil's place.
It's just a stand-in. It's just a double. No, there was a lot going on during that era for sure. But, I will say, and I was super impressed because we didn't always have the best relationship, especially Dad with the network and everybody else. But whenever the revival show came out, I thought, of course, Dad amazingly crossed over the week the show premiered. I mean, it was just the timing of it was unbelievable. It happened that same week. The show was coming out, and then Dad crossed over. And so they included this little scene that wasn't in the original pilot or for the new show, original episode, of Willie going by there. And he just took a film crew by there and just, he wanted to, just get Dad to give a little thumbs up for the thing. And so it didn't make the original thing because they didn't have the full cameras and all the setup, but they ran it anyway, just as a thumbs up to Dad, which really touched me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It meant a lot to me. And then the season 2 premiere, which just came out, recently, they did a whole episode about Dad. And then I laughed so hard, all of his old sayings.
Yeah. That's the one that I was on.
Yeah, exactly.
I was fixing to say, because I would have liked to have all the bloopers, like all the prayers that he said.
Now you're a living blooper.
I was about to say.
You are a living, walking blooper.
Well, yeah.
Well, and he thought that every interview, because, these shows are made around the interview bites. So you come in and everybody's lined up to do interviews for the day, and you know what they're looking for. And they'll even tell you, we want to try to get this bite, this bite, this bite. And so, you're trying to kind of get through it as fast as you can, except for one person, Dad.
Yeah.
Who thought the interview space was the opportunity for him to share the gospel with them
every time.
Single time he went in there. And he was like, Al, they've never run it. I said, Dad, they never will. I got news for you. It's never going to be on there.
And he never changed.
And he just kept doing it.
He never changed. It was the gospel.
So Phil had his own mindset about stuff. If you didn't understand Phil, then you wouldn't understand his mindset. It's like when my buddy Matt was gone for 14 and a half years, out in the world, and I kept trying to go by and get him to come back to church and get him back to the Lord, and it was difficult, and they didn't want nothing to do with me. Okay, and I went to Phil, and I was like, Phil, I don't know what to do. I've tried everything.
I'm really concerned about him and want to,
He said,
Phil said, "Oh, he's all right. He'll be back."
Yep. Here's what you do, Mac. I mean, okay, what? Go pick him up, bring him to the house. I was like, Phil, he don't want anything.
Nah, he don't want to come.
He said, oh yeah, he'll be there. He'll do it. I went and picked him up. Me and Si took him down to Phil's. He's been clean and sober and back with us for over 12 years.
And it was really funny because it was just like he instantly, it was like the prodigal son story. He came to his senses that one time with Dad. And he's like, you're right. I've been an idiot for 15 years. It's time to straighten up. It was just like boom. He was
that was the thing about Phil preaching. He had a knack for just using the correct terminology.
Yeah,
that would stick a guy.
Si, what are you the king of, sir?
I am the king of sleep.
How'd you know that's what I was going to ask you?
All right.
Because he feels
Oh.
helix.
Because, hey, I got me one of them Helix mattresses.
Look,
I
don't
do
take
too.
it from me. Take it from Cy, the king of sleep. You will never sleep better than if you have a Helix mattress. I could
Hey,
not imagine.
Here's the
going
cool
back.
thing about it. You take a little test,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're honest, then, hey, they will match you to a tailor-fitted
Why would you?
mattress, and you will sleep like a king.
Look, my wife and I took the Helix sleep quiz. Super simple. Took about 2 minutes.
You
Mattress.
can't flunk it
With
unless
the-
you're dishonest.
Yeah, and I'm a heavy set back sleeper who likes to roll around and move a lot, and it's soft, fluffy cloud like the moonlight. That's what I got, and it's amazing. We've had it for like 5 years now, and
Yeah.
if you came to my house and tried to take it, I would fight you over
Hey,
it.
everybody at Duck Commander has got a Helix
Mhm.
mattress.
Sadie's got it, Unashamed. You heard Cy say it. And Helix has over 20 different mattress models so you can find the best fit for your sleep style because everybody sleeps different. I got the sleep tracker on every night, and my scores through the roof. When we were out of town a few weeks ago in Arkansas,
Yeah.
I thought this must be what old age is. But then I got home back to my bed, woke up feeling like spring chicken all over again. Helix makes the whole process easy too because they ship your mattress straight to your door with free shipping in the US. Plus, you get a 120-night sleep trial. So you actually have time to make sure it's the right one for you. Go to helixsleep.com/
Duck,
for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/
duck,
for 20% off site-wide. helixsleep.com/
duck.
And boldness,
No,
like
no.
like I've never seen before. Because when I was trying to study with my dad kept shutting me down.
He's the
I
same
could
thing.
not get to him.
Yeah, I don't
mean,
want to talk to you
Immovable.
about that.
Yeah, he's like, no. I went to Phil. I said, Phil. I said, look, I don't know. I need some help with this one, And he was like, yep, that's what I thought, Mac. Here's what you do, son. And he said, do this exactly. And I said, okay. So I go, knock on the door. My dad opens up the door. I said, what do you want me to say? He said, what? I said, what do you want me to say at your funeral? And he started crying and said, I said, what's your relationship like with Jesus? And my dad never talked to me about Jesus until that one point. And it was incredible. And I went back and told Phil, I was like, it worked.
It worked.
And he was like, yep.
Yep.
You never thought about that as an icebreaker, but that's really what he is. right?
No.
When we went to the
Like a sledgehammer to
Well,
a block of
no.
ice.
Well, it's like somebody walk on and knock, you open it up, just pow.
Yeah.
Right in the nose. You go, oh.
And one time, the only time I ever seen Phil get excited about seeing anybody, because nothing really excited him, not much. We were at the Golden Moose Awards for the outdoor.
Remember it.
The
Golden Moose.
Awards.
Yeah. Anyway,
How many
Ted-
people can say that though?
And Ted,
One of the
Ted
greatest
Nugent.
evangelists.
Ted
ever
Nugent was
lived
the
with
music
Golden
act that
Moose.
night.
Yeah.
so
Uh-oh.
we're
The
sitting,
Nuge.
we're sitting at a table. Me
the
and
guitar.
Cy and Phil and some other guys
Yeah.
were sitting at a table, and Ted Nugent and his wife were over there. He said, "Hey, Mac." Like I went over there. I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "That's old Nugent over there." I said, "Yes, sir, it is." He said, "Yep, go get him. Bring him over here."
Pray more.
I was like, "Just go get him." So I go. I was like, "Hey, Mr. Ted, would you come over and see Mr. Phil?" He was like, "Phil Robertson." He jumped up and ran over, and they.
My blood brother.
Oh man!
Yeah.
And look, Phil was so happy, and I was just like, he just got it in his head the way
So
something.
let me tell you this. This is a story. I don't think I've ever told this one. We were doing the episode, the Mia episode with the wrestlers.
Oh,
when it
yeah.
was so cold. You remember that episode? We
Oh,
were
yeah.
asking, it's the coldest I've ever been in my life was filming that episode. And it was another 1 hour.
They was in spandex.
They were in spandex. In fact, one of them came up. There were 2 young guys from Atlanta, and they were out there wrestling. And Willie walked up and he said, "Don't take this the wrong way, but your nipples could cut glass right now."
Who said that?
Willie. He said that to that wrestler.
Poor guy.
Poor guy, and
We're
he's
all.
out.
That was the
Yo,
coldest.
you were there, yeah.
My job was to open the door for the wrestlers. I sat there for 3 hours shivering just so Willie could say,
yeah.
So
"Johnny
he
D,
could
let
do
him
that.
out." And I did this,
Yeah.
and then I was like, "I'm going home."
So we do the whole thing, and then they didn't tell us that the producers that they had lined up Hacksaw Jim Duggan, one
Yeah.
of our childhood
Oh, yeah.
heroes,
Yeah.
to come out. Now, the young guys that came out, they're young, so they look like Hacksaw Jim Duggan did like 35 years ago. Hacksaw Jim Duggan came out at about 66 years old in this cold weather.
Like
and
the peanut butter falcon.
Yeah, and he had the baggy like basketball shorts on.
Yeah.
Not quite the same look, but
His tricep looked a little bit like size does now.
yeah, a little bit,
Little flappy.
little dangly. And but look, it didn't matter.
Show him, Si.
None of that.
It ain't nothing.
He can throw a rock a mile, by the way. For those at home wondering if we've experimented, we still believe it.
It's like the gun show went into the gun safe. But anyway, so Hacksaw comes out there. It didn't matter that he was flabby and all that. I mean, he was our childhood hero, and of course they had the tight shots on Jason Willie. But when he came out of the back of that truck, and John David, I didn't know you were the opener. He came out of the back of that truck with that 2x4 on his shoulder. We went berserk because we didn't know he was going to be there. Because this guy, like we had practiced more of this in our living room every Saturday night.
Oh no,
Mid-South Wrestling.
I come in on leave one time and we like to have a fist fight because I told them, I said,
well, we didn't. We thought everything was
believe
real
in all
too.
that garbage.
We would do DDTs and the pile drivers and all of, which explains a lot. That's why Willie's been on his head many times. And so, but I walked. So all that happened, and we were so excited. And so they get ready at the end of the episode. We're taking just a group shot with the wrestlers. Well, nobody can find Dad or Duggan, and so everybody's looking around. Where's Dad? And we're all freezing, so cold. So I walked up I said, maybe they went to the house to get warm. I walk in, I open the door, and right there in the same living room, right where the old TV used to be, on us doing all our moves on the quilt, we had our wrestling. Dad was sitting in his chair, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan is down on his knees in front of the ottoman, or with Dad's chair kicked up. Yeah. And Dad's got his Bible out, and he's sharing Jesus.
Gospel.
With Doug, who was already a believer, but like was just listening, but he was down on his knees like a kid, and then Dad was just sharing from that chair. And I wish I could have in my mind I see the shot, but I wish I could have taken a picture because I thought, well, that's what it's really all about, in that moment. And that was Dad. That was it didn't matter who it was.
It didn't. He was going to
share. This was like our childhood hero, but he was like, "Come on in here, Doug, and I got to share something with you."
Wow,
which was so good.
Yeah, his Phil was so bold.
Yeah, always had, and instill that in us. And I've told the story before on Unashamed, but the very first time I ever saw him shared in a public setting where he was just like, we were in New Orleans, and it was my first time back, having been a prodigal, and that's where I was. That's where my pig pen was, that I left to go home. And so I had not been back to New Orleans, and this is about 3 years after that. I'm working for the company now. I'm going to college. Lisa and I are married. And we go into the Superdome because we had a booth there and we were selling duck calls. And so they asked Dad to speak at this little duck call seminar. And there's 300 or 400 Cajuns out there. And he's underneath this sign that says Anheuser-Busch King of Beers, because they were the lead sponsor for the event.
This is one of the greatest lines of all.
And so he stands up and he does. Have I told this on here before?
I've just
told it
heard
on
it.
ours. But anyway,
I've heard it in life.
You have.
But
and so so the Cajuns are out there, they're drinking their beer, they're loving life and loving Anheuser-Busch. And Dad, up until this point, he's just like doing his duck calls, but he had never like done what he did later in life. This is early, he's still building a business. And so when he gets finished, he's kind of, how he used to gather up all of his stuff and put it in his bag. He's got his duck calls out there. And he looks up at the sign and he looks back at them and he pauses. And I'll never forget because I'm standing just off stage, and there's a guy there named Paul Dubasson, who is our New Orleans duck call guy, and he reaches in and pulls out the old duct tape Bible.
Oh yeah,
this thing is taped together.
I remember that.
And he holds it there, and he's looking out at him, and the Cajuns don't know what to think. What are you doing?
This is perfect the way he's done it.
And so he looks up at the sign and he says, "Boys, I'm gonna tell you something. Anheuser-Busch, he really is the king of beers. Boy, back in the day, I drank a many a one of them.
Yep.
He said, but I gave all that up when I found the King of Kings.
The real king.
He said, that's what this is about.
Yeah.
King of Kings. And it was a kind of a murmur went through
what a
line.
That's unbelievable.
And then he just shared Jesus, but they were so stunned, they didn't even know how to react. Because a minute ago they were drinking, now the all the beers under the chair. Nobody. I mean, Dad had a way of shutting the party down. I'm gonna tell you that. Si and I went with him up to Memphis one time when they were doing some spokes work for Clayton Homes. And I mean, they had the joint was rocking. They had this band from Memphis and they're playing and everybody's drinking and dancing like this. And all of a sudden they put Dad up there and he's like, syphilis, gonorrhea, herpes, chlamydia. And that's his open. He's like, let me tell you something. You get things from the evil one.
This is a dangerous place you live in.
You get things from the evil one that Clorox won't take off. And all of a sudden it was like, whoo. The
party's over. The music has stopped.
Oh, it was so funny. So that was just his way. It sometimes like that. It was like after it was over, I was like, "Well, Dad, I think that ends the corporate speeching gig for you." Because Clayton Holmes, the guy's looking at me, and I was like, "You asked him. I mean, this is." And what I've always said was, he was like a, because Trump is just like Dad, except Dad is like the biblical, prophetic Donald Trump. He was the same way in church because the people would come to me, they're like, some of your, like Mamo Joe and some of them, they'd be like, oh, I can't even sit in one of Phil's classes. He just says the most inappropriate thing. And they're coming to me because I work there and they're like, can you get your dad? I said, I can't. Are you kidding me?
Hey,
I hadn't been able to get him to say anything I wanted.
Hey, he's only got an on button.
That's
You
right.
can't turn him off.
You can't turn him off. I was telling the story yesterday in John David in my sermon. I was chuckling because Trump has come out with this passport. It's a. Have you seen it? The 250th edition. Of course, there's a big picture of him in it with his signature.
Jackie Gleason. How sweet it is, baby.
And then, of course, on the next page is like the founders and the 250 years, but the big picture was Trump.
It's got to be him on the.
So I was laughing about it, but look, what he says is what's funny.
Yeah.
It says, "Welcome, but be good."
yeah. That's what.
That's what it says in the passport.
I haven't
Welcome,
seen that part.
welcome, but be good.
Better be good.
And it so reminded me of Dad, because like Dad was like, I mean, what's wrong with doing good, for crying out loud? Well, I mean, what is wrong, McMillan, with doing good? Why would we not want to do that?
He was the only person that could even come up with the things he said. But even if you would have had the mind to say king of beers, king of king, he's the only one that was brave enough to do it.
That's exactly right.
But his boldness has really gone through the whole family and the community, because I've heard people say, I can't believe y'all are so open with your faith and so bold. And I'll tell you, I mean, all the guys that I hang out with on this show and the other shows, Unashamed and the anything having to do with the duck call stuff, they're not ashamed of their faith, and it's just normal and natural. It comes easy to us to share Jesus with people. And when Si was at an event early on, when this first started, it was some kind of big pay money deal, and they had some VIPs from some casino to bring Si in, and I was there with him, and they got him up on stage, and he's making them laugh, and they're all drinking, having a good time, and he's got stories going on, and he just stops while they're laughing, and he says, look, he said, why don't y'all just repent and turn to God? He said, that's the easiest way. Can we do that? And they're laughing, and they're like, this old boy, they just start clapping. They're all like, yay, Si. Si, I always appreciate you being so bold. And I know where it comes from. It comes from your family, and from your brother. But I love it.
Well, even
and Al, you're the same way.
Even our grandparents, Si and Dad's mom and dad, the one thing I regret is that they didn't live long enough to see the show, because they would have gotten the biggest kick out of what happened, to their
me
family.
Personally, I figured they saw it.
Yeah, maybe they did. That's right.
I'm serious.
I think all the
they
time.
watched it on the big screen.
The big screen. There you go.
No, I'm serious.
I like to think you're right, but in our minds, that's the way they were. And they weren't quite as bombastic as we became, but they were the roots of it. Because of them, they were very strong in their faith and
what's
taught
so
that.
funny about that, they were Baptist.
Yeah.
And they was talking after they went to church one night and talking about, something ain't right here. Mom was the one that started. She said, James, something ain't right. But it's just, it's not
So,
fit,
yeah.
And so then they changed.
Yeah. They kept studying.
Yep.
trying to figure whatever out.
Well,
But I always wondered if Phil ever thought of himself as John the Baptist.
Well, he had a mirror, didn't he?
Well, no, because I'm just
well,
saying.
looks like he looked strange. He ate strange things,
Well,
and he pointed people to Jesus. Right?
That was funny.
That was a good one.
And he was a
but
little
I'm-
loud.
I'm really, I've always thought, just silly questions pop up in my head because, when you look at him, I always thought about when he was telling one of his fish stories. Talking about, well, I heard the motor shut off. He said, and it was right down there where I got one net. He said, so I jump in and grab a 16 gauge, go there, and I always wondered when I said, what did they think when he molded it up, had that 16 gauge?
They wet their pants like
Oh,
Al
well,
did today.
No, because it's,
Al did walk in after he wet his pants.
because he'd asked the
Hey,
question.
I got prostate problems. What can I say?
Because he'd always say, oh, looks like somebody's having a fish fry. And then when he really blew him away is when, how many do you think are coming? And they said, about 10. He said, well, he's throwing fish in the boat, He said, let's put 5 more in there because when the grease starts stinking, there's going to be 10 people show.
Oh, we didn't do it miraculously like Jesus did, but we did have a moment where people kept coming to the fish fry, but we instead of having the miraculous recreation, me and Jace were out running nets, bringing more fish in, but we literally went from about 40 people to 200 people we fed in one setting, which was pretty amazing. But they always had those, but it came from my grandparents. If you want to get a good chuckle, I think you can just Google it. And I think it's Robertson Mom or something on The Price is Right. But
that's a good
Have you
one.
seen it? And that's my granny, but their mom at 84.
84.
Just raking both showcases.
Oh, no.
I mean, and just so country sounding, and it's so hilarious.
Have you seen it, Si?
Oh, no, her and Bob. Okay, Bob.
Oh, she loved Bob.
Hey, Bob loved Mom and Mom loved Bob because
Merit.
they had a thing going when they was doing the show. And he said, because when he said, Barrett, you ever play this? I said, Bob, I never miss it. me and James, and we always argue about who won. She said, I normally win 90% of it.
She met her little game she played. She missed by like $2, and then she nailed everything else. The showcases, 1, 2 cars.
Yeah, it was one of the deals saying, hey, Barrett, you got 10 things here, and you got to, say what they call. And and they got them where they flip them down.
The mountain climber.
Yeah.
The mountain
Yeah.
climber. He only yodeled twice. I mean, she
said, hey,
totally nailed it.
what's that one, Merritt? Oh, that's $3.99, Bob. Boom, $3.99. And he said, Merritt, that's about 3 of them. He said, seems like you played this game before. She said, oh, Bob, I never missed it.
Come on. I want to hear Johnny say, come on down.
The Robertson trait of being
Merit.
smarter than you look is a real
That's
thing.
why I'm saying we should have known then. There was some
She was the first
some
TV.
destiny for television. It was coming.
She
started
was the
it.
first TV star.
She started.
That's absolutely insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. It really is. But mine was a hoot now.
Well, you watched The Blind, so you know there was.
Well, because
there were issues.
Grandpa used to, put his slippers boots on, go check his garden, come back, take a nap. Well, Mama would slip in his boots, go out there and thump a watermelon or a cantaloupe and steal it and eat it.
I'm proud of you for finally saying steal it.
No.
Normally you just say,
and he'd wake up and check his garden again that afternoon. And he said, Merritt, I know you're the one that's doing it. For the life of me, I can't figure out how. She was stepping the same place he had stepped.
And if you're kind of wondering why the Robertsons are crazy, my grandparents were cousins, second cousins. So. And then there's that. So,
I don't make fun of that kind of
I'm just saying. I'm
start
part of the family, so I can say
we've always been a close knit.
No, hey, stop that. No.
Oh, God.
We used to go to family reunions looking for a date.
Hey, stop it. Stop. No.
Our family tree didn't fork, John. That's
Hey, my mom and dad met my aunt and uncle's wedding.
There you go.
We got brothers marrying sisters on our
boy.
side. I got cousins on, but we all got the same grandparents.
I know y'all got a lot of double first cousins marrying each other.
There's just not a lot of people in Ouachita Parish.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's a small pool. We're like the Tudors.
Well, Al, It's been great having you. It's
Always
time.
a pleasure.
Oh,
What?
yeah.
You've alluded to your sermon. We end with the Bible verse, and
I got one.
I always have to like come up with something stupid that relates to whatever we talk about. So I get excited when a man of the word of the cloth is here.
See, I knew you did this, so I have several, but the one I wanted to close with is this. You talk about being unashamed. You talked about our life. The way and the reason we can be unashamed of the gospel is because of this verse, one of my favorites, Hebrews 2:11. Both the one who makes men and women holy and those who are made holy are of the same family. So Jesus is unashamed to call them brothers and sisters.
Wow.
And so that's how we can live unashamed, because first he's unashamed of us. So there's my verse.
And that's pretty wild.
Pretty wild.
Mm.
Hey, you know what else is wild? Just to end on this,
What?
your brother and John the Baptist have met at this point.
That's right.
Hey,
That's a good thought.
That's a great though.
How cool is that?
They're
and
comparing camel hair.
I guarantee you, it's pretty that close resemblance.
Oh yeah, over a plate of locusts.
Yeah. I said, pass that honey and then throw me about 10
I'll
of
eat
them
a
locusts.
crawfish. I'm out on the locust. Crawfish boil in heaven.
Oh no, hey, they're good. They're crunchy.
You've never ate a locust.
Oh, I have too. I had to.
Our-
I had to.
He was in the military 24 and a half years.
Hey,
JD.
yeah, eating
Hey,
locust.
look, I just picked it off a tree and then dipped it in honey and
That
ate
is
it.
100% not true. We'll see y'all next time right here in the Duck Call Room. Thank you for being with us, Al.
In here,
My pleasure.
getting deep.